Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. In this video I have for you a 4 versus 4 on Gora Kalwaria, and I'm going to be playing with the new Unternehmen Rosselsprung with the balanced deployment type. That sprung part is actually kind of hard for me to say. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Anyway, great division. I actually really like this division. It's a little bit difficult to play against a division that has a lot of like medium and heavy armor, but it is still much better than the NOV division, the Yugoslavian Liberation Army. It does have a bit more punch to it in the fact that it has a lot better and abundant light vehicles with 20 mils, and also the support weapons to kind of back you up. So you do have like the Pack 50s and the Pack 40s, at least in my deck in phase A and B, and then like later on you're kind of more reliant on just finishing the game early, because if it does get late, then yeah, I've only got Ju-87s in my deck, I think, in the late games for killing tanks. You'd have to kind of bog yourself down, or bog the enemy down in the trees with infantry, and make it so that if they do try and push through you with a bunch of tanks, you can kind of ambush the tanks and so on from the heavy cover. Anyway, let's have a quick look at what's going down here at the start. I've got some SS Gebirgsjäger. We've got also the SS Fallschirm MG42s with some SS Gebirgsfusilier. There's going to be a Pack 50 there, and a Flakfilling at the start. Flakfillings did get buffed in the latest patch, so they're pretty good at the moment. I expect they'll get nerfed again because they're almost too good, in my opinion. You only need like 1 or 2 of them to get kills, which is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, MG42s, more of those with the SS Gebirgsfusilier, another 50mm, and the AB41. Then there's going to be 2 Brandenburger on the right-hand side with the SS Gebirgspionierführer and the SS Fallschirmjäger MG42 with the Panzer 35S, Panzer II, and a Pack 50. And you can see I'm bringing in a Pack 50 on each of these roads. Pack 50s are super important early on to help you deal with sort of light and medium armor. Without them, this deck would kind of fall apart, so definitely make sure you do have them early on, because your Panzer 35s and I guess the M15s that you can get as well, the Italian ones, would just not be good enough, although I do bring them in I think later in the game. But that's more for infantry support rather than dealing with enemy armor. They're just not good for it. None of your armor is good against other armor, except from maybe like really light armor. So we're off, and yeah, as you can see, all of my units just rushing up to these points. I actually really like Gora Kalwaria as a map. It's probably one of my favorite maps in the game. Very, very cool map. But yeah, we're going to be on the right today. My Brandenburger, they're going to be pushing up into this tree line. The Brandenburger do have the dual MG, but they also have close range, like TNT, or they got the big bundle grenades. So they're good at taking on infantry at close range. I'm going to be bumping into Wooden Box. That's going to be our opponent for this game. He's going to be playing with the 3rd Canadian. And he is going to manage to get a couple of snipes onto my transports early on, so that's going to be my SS Gebirgsfusilier and the MG going down, which was a bit unfortunate, especially the Fusilier unit, because I do have limited infantry recon. But I do manage to unload at least the 50mm, and one of my 50mm gets a snipe onto the transport there, and I'm also going to be blowing up this Staghound with a nice shot, and I'm going to be hitting shots onto this Staghound as it tries to fall back. It almost got out of range, but last shot does the job. So that was really nice. Managed to trade back, basically, for the units that I lost. So I'm not too displeased with how the start of the game's gone. I'm getting my armor into the light cover on the right-hand side. That's going to be pushing up with my infantry here, the Brandenburger. They're going to be pushing in to this heavy cover, whilst the light armor can move around on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, in the open, these rifles getting demolished by the SPW AB41 and the MG42. This is actually a really good vehicle. You can get this in a few of the Fallschirmjäger decks, but in this case it does have the Croatian tag on it, which is pretty cool. And they are fantastic at demolishing infantry. They can also deal with support weapons very well, like even AT guns. Like if you have a couple of these and you engage an AT gun, you're almost guaranteed to kill the AT gun. It might maybe kill one of the AB41s, but the AB41s are pretty cheap. They're only 30 points in this case. Meanwhile on the left, trying to push across with the Gebirgsjäger. After the good start, killing both the Staghounds and some of the infantry in the open, I realised that he might not have too much opposing us across the open here, but he does have these Vickers HMGs placed pretty well, so they're going to pin down my SS Gebirgsjäger in the open here, and the Gebirgsfusilier, making it difficult for me to approach, and he's now reinforced with a couple of Stuart 5s, which have now arrived in this light cover. But I'm getting my MG42 to engage the 6-pounder, and I'm hoping that that goes down, which it will very quickly, to the MGs, especially considering it was being hit by 2 MGs. AB41 going to go down though. I think there was a tank over here that did me in, so that was unfortunate. Meanwhile on the right, Panzer II has started to move forwards and is going to be engaging the rifles there. You can just see how much damage these 20 mils do. It's absolutely fantastic. And I have managed to get into position with the Brandenburger, where they're going to be able to engage the rifles. Now, as I mentioned before, the Brandenburger have 2 machine guns. Now, they're not just any machine guns, they're MG42s, which absolutely rip at range, especially with 3-star Venerancy. So that's basically because the SS Gebirgs Pionierführer behind them is giving them that extra Venerancy. But both my Panzer II and Panzer 35 are going to go down to the Sherman. Not much I can do about that, but Pak 38 does take out the Stuart 5, so I'm happy about that. It doesn't really matter too much if you lose a lot of your light armor early on. Like, these Panzer 35s are kind of expendable. They're only 25 points. They're pretty much there just to be annoying for enemy infantry. But now, in order to get rid of the Sherman 5s early on, I'm going for this MS 406, which again has Croatian markings. And I've also got the Ju-87 down here that's coming in with the cluster munitions. And you can see the recon is going to spot more than one tank. I'm going to go for the back Sherman so that it drops the cluster early. Unfortunately, not going to get the kill there, but I do manage to take out the Stuart, or 2 Stuarts, in the light cover there. So one of them was successful, the other one just completely whiffed. I don't know how it didn't kill this. Like, honestly, it was only pinned down like ever so slightly by the 50 cal. So it really should have killed the Sherman 5. That was like actually really unlucky for me. Regardless, no enemy aircraft came in, so I'm going to be going for the 3rd Ju-87 in this case. These Ju-87s in the early game are really strong because there's not normally too many enemy fighters that you're going to have to deal with. So I'm trying to exploit them while I can. They're 95 points a pop. If they can kill like a tank or 2, I'm more than happy. So just got to get rid of these Sherman 5s early on, and we're going to be going for the cluster munitions there. And this time, no chance. Going to be taking it down. Unfortunately, on our team, J-Dog is going to drop. He was playing on the left-hand side here. So AI is going to be taken over there. But meanwhile, in the middle, Genjeff's pushing forwards with all of his disheartened units. He's got these Ersatztruppen. He's got the Volkssturm. He's got the SS Schuppo. And they are pushing forwards in the center, making quite a decent chunk of ground, to be honest. Especially considering what kind of units they are. But yeah, great stuff. Really nice meme build deck there from Genjeff. Meanwhile on the right, MS-406 is going to be unloaded on by some Polstons in the back, so does end up getting shot down. Pak 38 in the meantime, looking for the shots onto the Sherman 5 at a distance. Is going to find 2 shots on target. What happened there was Wooden Box gave the probably reverse command to go back here, but because it kind of was near the tree line, it had to like turn its back, show its side armor, and therefore my Pak 38 got the kill. The Pak 38 at distance against Sherman is actually kind of bad, so you do have to be careful not to let your 50mm AT guns engage armor from a distance too much, because it will just get them killed. Like if a Sherman engages me from like 1,500 meter range, which is like its max range, then yeah, I'm basically going to have like a 10% or less penetration chance on the Sherman's front armor. It's basically not worth fighting at all, especially since they can guarantee damage with a HE onto you, whilst you require that penetration to do damage to them. AB41 anyway, going to be engaging a lot of this infantry, and the MGs has found itself some juicy fruit in the middle of the field here. Keeping the crew from getting scurvy. Oh wait, that's on the ships, isn't it? Anyway, AB41 going to be taking out the Vickers HMG there, and this is the perfect armoured car for this sort of situation. Wooden Box really did bring out all of the Vickers HMGs that he had in Phase A. I think you can get like 8 or 6 on a card, probably 6. And yeah, he brought them all in. I did actually go all out with my MG42s as well. MG42s will generally win the engagement against the Vickers HMG, so that's why I'm managing to pick quite a lot of these off while the AB41's firing at different ones. But in this case, AB41 going to help finish off that one. And with the Vickers HMGs dead, there's going to be a good chance for me to push back across with some of my infantry. So I'll start doing that in a second. Meanwhile, SS Gebirgsfusilier have got really far up. They're going to be using their sniper and the MG to engage the Recce here. At this range, going to be engaging the Sherman 5. Because I have 2 AT guns, I'm quite happy with this engagement. If this was just one, then I wouldn't have been. But in this case, we are going to get the gun jam, which was really good. You can see even here, I'm struggling to penetrate. That's going to be like a 20 or 30% penetration chance in the front armor at this range. So not going to be able to get the kill. The last shot there, you can see bouncing off into the tree line. Rifles with Piet are going to get sliced up again by my SPW AB41. It's doing a fantastic job here. And now we have the Stuart coming over to try and help out. My Panzer 35 did manage to get a shot on target, and we're going to be able to finish that off. Now I'm going to try and get away from the Sherman 5. The Sherman 5 was aiming at the Panzer 35, and I managed to sneak up my Pak 38 in the back of this building here in order to get a penetration, so that worked really nicely. I got a side shot and then I got a front shot. I think it was like 30-40% penetration chance, so that works for me. Stuart 5 doing quite a lot of damage actually to my SS Gebirgsfusilier. These 30 cal machine guns have actually received a bit of a buff lately, so they're a lot more useful than they used to be. Stuarts before just weren't really worth taking. Same with like the machine guns on T-34s, they've been buffed as well, so they kind of suppress a lot more than they used to, which yeah, in this situation makes them very good against units in the open. So one of the Sherman 5s is going to be engaging my SS Gebirgsjäger. This one is going to be engaging my Pak 38. Well, my Pak 38 did manage to get a sneaky penetration in there already, just waiting to get the next, basically. Since I already had the jump on him, I'm hoping to basically, you know, get the job done. Bringing in lots of these Ju-88s, 87s though. I wasn't sure about how bad the AA was, so I'm just going to be committing pretty much all of them to engage that Sherman. And I believe I do manage to take it out, but it is going to cost me. 1, 2 Ju-87s go down, and well, there goes the third. This time they do respond. Jagd comes in with a Spitfire, Commandant Maximilian comes in with his IL-2s, and also his Tamans, which are going to be looking for kills onto my AB-41s. Thankfully didn't kill any AB-1s. I do bring in my Veltro, my C205. Just about going to get out. Didn't manage to shoot down any Tamans, so I shot down one with the Flakvilling, but otherwise, yeah, the rest of them got away. Now Maximilian coming in with the IL-2 M3 as well. And the reason that this is happening, like, we're up against Wooden Box, who's the 3rd Canadian. Jagd's playing with the 6th South African Armoured, and Commandant Maximilian's playing with his Polish Home Army. So the Polish Home Army does have those decent aircraft, and he's going to be using them against me here. Does kill off one of my Brandenburger squads, which was really unfortunate. My Pak 38 is going to take out the Stuart 5, and I'm still in a decent position here, so that's okay. But yeah, since the J-Dog on this left-hand side isn't really under much, well, the guy who's against him, Maximilian, isn't under much pressure. He's very much able to save up some points for these aircraft and help Wooden Box, who is under pressure on his team. And that's what's causing all of these reinforcements to come in. And same with Jagdsource also bringing in some rifles here to help out. But because I've done pretty well, I've managed to get across here with this division so far. Carried mainly by my Pak 38s, I am starting to bump into multiple players. The Pak 38s were really carrying me, because taking out the Sherman 5s is vitally important, and this division can really struggle against medium armor if it's used correctly. In this case, this part of the map kind of forces Wooden Box to engage at closer ranges than he'd probably like with those tanks, and that's what's allowing the Pak-38s to get the penetration chance onto those units. So SS Gebirgsjäger gonna be trying to hold this position at the moment, chilling in the trees, trying to engage any units that come into the light cover. Whilst their loadout kind of sucks with the MP40 Kar-98 and the MT-26s, they still can do a decent chunk of damage to units that are in the open from heavy cover. The SPW AB-41 there I think might have got killed off by the Polston because it was low on health. Either that or the tank killed it. I am going to be shooting down a Yak. That was just my flak filling, getting a cheeky shot in there. I was trying to get the SS Gebirgsfusilier to launch a AT grenade onto the Kangaroo, but didn't quite manage to make that happen. Pak-38 does the job. So yeah, Pak-38 again, really helping me out a lot. And Brandenburger going to be coming up against their match, the Field Engineers. Of course, I should be able to trade at least 2 for 1, and I do need to trade 2 for 1 to make the Brandenburger worth it. In this case, though, if I can catch the Field Engineers in light cover, yeah, they don't stand a chance. They're going to get deleted by those MG42s. Same here, Field Engineers caught out in the light cover. Over on the left, though, Wooden Box is going to be using Assault Pioneers and my Brandenburger Pioneers. These actually did a lot worse than I expected they would do. These are actually equipped quite well with 6 submachine guns and 2 flamethrowers, but because Wooden Box had multiple squads, it actually allowed him to pin down my squads quite effectively and kill them off. So he just outnumbered me in this case, and I really needed to group up my flamers and try and make a pushback, like a concerted effort there. My infantry here did get taken out. My leader's still alive though. Since I know that this is a lot of like anti-infantry infantry, I'm pushing up aggressively with my armor, since I'm kind of hoping, or more knowing that there's not that much AT here or available, and if it is any AT, it's going to be like a Pia, right? So 50% accurate does give you a chance to kill it or pin it down, whatever it is, before you get taken out. Anyway, the double Brandenburger Pioneer easily clean up the Assault Pioneers in the end, and I'm able to take out that rifle squad as well. My Gebirgs Pionierführer just managed to get a grenade off onto the Berlin-Govici, but otherwise do get killed off. Meanwhile on the left, Pak-38 is going to get popped. My Pak-40, I turned off the APCR so that I could maybe engage that at close range, but 2-star Sherman 5s are going to aim very quickly, and the machine guns can do a lot of damage. But at the moment, my units are getting through here quite effectively, and the Panzer II is going to find this Polston and take it out. I also took out another Polston using the Brandenburger, so it's opening up the skies again for me, and thus I choose to bring in the DO-17. So this is one of the bombers available to Unternehmen Rosselsprung with the 2 500kg HE bombs. Actually a pretty nice paint job on this bomber. But that's going to be going for the bombing strike onto this clump of units, the Shermans and the rifles here. I think I ended up like losing line of sight, so I didn't actually drop the bombs, which was unfortunate. My flak filling is going to now come under fire, so a bit of a, a bit of a mistake from me. Spitfire is going to be trying to go for the Alcyon here, which does drop a bomb further back. Unfortunately, Sathor's bomber is going to be taking one for the team. But I've got more infantry on the way. More Brandenburger. Some of these SS Gebirgs Streif. I think it's Streif or Streif. Streif or Streif. I always get confused. Anyway, 17-pounder. Pop in some units here. Really not good. Almost lost 3 transports. Veltro coming in though. Free kill onto the Taman. And I'm going to be looking for the kill onto the IL-2 as well. The P-51s are going to be coming in there, and also the Spitfire from Wooden Box. So, goodbye Veltro. And Pak-40 is still alive here. And flak filling, well, that's going to be engaging the AVRE. Over time, technically, I should be able to kill an aviary with the flak fling, but the Pak-38 does get the kill with the APCR, so that works too. Brandenburger Pioneer with the double flamethrower, going to be able to take care of the rifles of the Piet at least. And these Partizanci, they do actually end up missing their gammon bomb, or whatever this is, the Filipinka. And second one, however, hits the mark. I should have reversed earlier. It would have been a smart move. But I'm getting really kind of overwhelmed here with lots of infantry, because like Yag's pushing in his rifles. I'm still dealing with like infantry from Maximilian. I've got, of course, Wooden Box with his Canadians pumping through. It's very hectic. And my Pak-40 does get caught by Jagdsource's rifles. Here, though, I do manage to get the better of the Berlinkovici. So that's good. The Brandenburger are very, very good at range with those double MG42s. Also managing to take out that unit, take out the Kangaroo with the Pak-38. Again, the Pak-38's just really, really carried me this game. But yeah, so far, so good. Like, our infantry capability with this division is actually really quite decent. So at close range with all these Brandenburger, it's really hard for them to deal with, because, I mean, even at range, I'm still going to win, especially against rifles. Like, rifles in general are just kind of bad. So Brandenburg are going to be just outclassing them at every step, at close range, at long range, wherever. Now, the only benefit that they have with their rifles is that they cost, 20 points instead of 30 points, but in that case, Brandenburg are going to get pinned down and surrendered. I shouldn't have really let that squad go, but I don't think I noticed that happening because I was just focusing on so much stuff at the time. But again, Brandenburg are going to be engaging the Ochotnicy. I am going to lose a unit coming up here, but another lovely kill. I think this time, though, it was the Gebirgsjäger that managed to get the AT on target. Yeah, check this out. So this is a squad that has 8 G43s and MG34, and the Brandenburger has MG42s. I've got 2 of those squads, and this is a lot of Ochotnicy. But I'm going to be surrendering one, and I've pinned down most of the others. I just need to make sure this one gets pinned down. I'm going to be focusing that, and then bam, look at that. Oh, juicy surrender there. That's like 6 squads of Ochotnicy dealt with, and those Ochotnicy, they ain't cheap. They cost a good 25 points a pop. So, yeah, that is a decent chunk of points there taken out. The Ochotnicy used to be like 30 points, but they were reduced in price recently. Pak-38 does manage to take out another Sherman 5 for me, so that was fantastic. MG42 is getting pinned down a little bit here, so that sucks. But this MG42 is able to engage at a distance, which is going to help the Brandenburger kind of win this engagement for the time being. My SS Gebirgs Pionierführer is still alive, so that's allowing me to capture this left-hand side. And for all of the effort the opposing team is putting into us, you see Jagdsource here with his own tanks and his infantry, you've got Maximilian's infantry here and Air Force and all that kind of good stuff. Even Jedi Master now getting in on it. This is the 4th player confirmed. We're still holding the flags. Like, I'm still holding these 2 flags, I'm still holding this flag at the moment. So we're 20 to 12 across the map, which is pretty good considering we have a person who dropped at the start, like J-Dog's not with us. And then there's going to be a bomber going down, and there is the Mitchell here, which is going to allow my C205 to come in and shoot it down. Great stuff. I really liked these fighters in War Thunder. These were one of my favorite planes to fly at low BR in War Thunder. Anyway, Pak-38 looking for more kills onto the Sherman 5s. I've also got my DOs coming in with these bombing strikes. So bombs away. Looking to kill some of this infantry in the open. So Barnasanchi going to go down, or Ochotnicy going down. Also tried to bomb the Sherman 5, but that didn't quite get the kill, but did force it back for the time being. Unfortunately, no AA on the right-hand side, so the DO is going to go down, but the Spitfire is going to have to go over my AA. Or at least, it would matter if my flak-filling wasn't pinned down by off-map that's now come in. So, yeah. Trying to hold on anyway to the best of my ability. My flak-filling does unfortunately get killed by said off-map. But we're going to go for the Spitfire here with my Veltro. I'm going to bring in a second one. Double team that down. Nice. So meanwhile on the right-hand side, more of these Gebirgs coming in. pushing on to stormtroopers. Now, admittedly, probably not a good engagement for me, but with the mortar fire coming in, I'm going to continue to push forwards. I don't really want to like get pinned like this and then get surrendered. So my initial plan, seeing the artillery coming in, was that I could outrun it and move forwards, but alas, it didn't really work out. Sathor coming in with the bombing strike. For some reason, this bombing strike went completely off the map. Look at that. But these guys are going to get surrendered, unfortunately, and I'm going to have to fall back from that for the time being. But Sathor now giving me a hand with his Falchion Pioneers. They're going to do a lot better against those units. So I'm in a bit of a pickle, really, because I did really well early on, which I think this division is kind of designed to do. It does have very good infantry, it's got decent support weapons early on, you've got a lot of light armor, so yeah, early on in the game it works quite well. But as we move to like the mid to late game here, I'm definitely running low on units that are able to kill Shermans and so on. So like medium armor right now is super strong, unless it gets close, in which case I can start to use the AT on my infantry. So I've got this like one Pack 40 that's trying to like cover the open. We got this Pack 38 over here. I'm pretty sure this was like my last Pack 38 at this point. I'd already lost Pack 40 as well over on this left hand side. So I'm left with like one Pack 40, one Pack 38, and that's like literally it for good AT. Other than that, it's just light armor and aircraft. So yeah, and I'm having to deal with, you know, Wooden Box kind of recovering now from being helped by Yag Source as well. And there is a push coming in. You can see that there is some smoke coming down. This was actually a really perfect smoke wall in a sense that it covered pretty much perfectly across the front. Whenever I do this, I swear there's always gaps where I just get absolutely toasted through them. In this case, it covered almost perfectly. I'm not too worried about this though. Like, I remember at the time in my stream, people were going on about, oh, what's coming, you know, like, oh, you need to be worried. And it's like, well, not really, because at this point in the game, I do want to fight close up. I do want to be brawling, because at range, I don't really stand a chance against the medium armor. So I do have all these L6s kind of like waiting here in the light cover to basically react to where the units are coming in. Now, Pack 40 is going to get the better of one of the kangaroos early on. The assault pioneers here should be dropping their smoke as they come forwards, but they weren't. So L6 is just going to be able to absolutely melt them, and there's no AT with these that can help out. If there was a couple of Shermans actually pushing through here, this would kind of be a hard time for me, but at the moment, so far so good. L6s are going to be able to do the job. On the left side, I did finally lose that SS Kabugs Pioneer. But yeah, L6s, that is the name of the game right now. Just got to make these work out as I'm pushed on by these kangaroos with all of this infantry. So, rifles are Piat. There is also the stormtroopers as well. And I'm just got to try and dodge artillery. Hope this off map doesn't hit me. And yeah, what I'm going to end up doing is trying to just move away, because the off map here was kind of bad for me if it pins down the L6s, but it ended up actually helping me kill off the build engineers there at least. And Pack 38 again gets another kill, so that was great. DO-17 is going to be coming in with the bombing strikes. I'm going to be able to change at least one of the bombing strikes in time to hit this clump of units. And that was a big bomb. Big bomb for me. Took out multiple units of infantry. Going to allow the L6s to move forwards and engage those units. My DO on the right hand side did end up getting shot down by AA, but now is the time for these L6s to shine. My Pack 38 still busy taking out more armor, like these half tracks getting picked off one by one. And the Brandenburger back here are kind of picking off any units that bump into them. Like, they ended up surrounded, so it's kind of good for me because it allows me to ambush units that, yeah, like I say, bump into them. So Bedford's going to go down. SS Kabugs, Jaeger trying to kill the kangaroo. Kangaroo too close to engage here. The 50 cal does have a minimum range of 100 meters, so if you can get like under the gun, the AT is able to just freely fire there, which is what happened. And I'm also going to be able to take out the stormtroopers, and the L6 has taken out the rifles in the open, so pretty much just survived that push, which is great, because if everything in the open is taken out, I'm going to end up capturing back this flag, and we're currently 17 to 15, but with that flag it'd be 18 to 15, which is, yeah, really good. So I was quite happy with how that worked out. Sathor's going to be reinforcing me with more Fallschirmjäger. I've got more light armor on the way, the L6s and the M15s. These are the Italian tanks. Very cool indeed. So now here comes the Sherman 5, but this is Yag's Sherman 5. I don't know if Wooden Box just like was low on them or what, but if he'd brought some Sherman 5s with his push, my L6s would have had a hard time, and then his infantry would have been a lot more successful, especially since my infantry squads were quite depleted at this point. Anyway, I do set a defense beacon down here to make sure that Sathor knows that his Tiger's getting shot at, but it's a bit too late. 17 pounders are going to end up taking him out. My JU-87 is going to get absolutely destroyed by the AA. I should have really committed that to engaging the Sherman 5, because destroying the Sherman 5 again would open up the opportunity for the L6s to engage all the infantry that's following up. But this time the push is a little bit more worrisome for me, because Pack 40 is here but not, able to shoot the Sherman 5 yet, and he's also got infantry backing up. So what I'm going to end up deciding to do is actually falling back. So I end up trying to fall back to these buildings, and the purpose of that is to pretty much set up a defensive line where the infantry can engage their infantry without taking too much damage, whilst I sneak up the Pack 40 and pop the Sherman 5, and then we can get going with the L6s, which I'm telling to now line up behind these buildings ready for a counterattack. So that was the plan. So yeah, trying to get my units back as quickly as possible. And Pack 40, meanwhile, on this right-hand side, does have a pretty good line of sight onto these Sherman 5s, so going to be able to start putting shots into them. Do manage to take out one of the leaders, which is great. And going to be able to shoot the second one, so it falls back. Assault Pioneers taken out there. L6 is moving into position. Just going to take the chance to shoot the rifles whilst the Sherman 5 hasn't moved up yet. Mosquito did come in for the fire position onto the Pack 40, but I'd already started moving it back after I engaged the M4, because this is really precious right now. I don't want this to die. This Pack 40 is super important. Also, you might be noticing that there are fire position orders coming in. I did bring up a bunch of these 105s, so they are going to be helping me out with their HE shells at range. I don't have any radio here. It's okay for now though. Like, radio is nice, especially if you want to kill like armored targets, because you want your artillery to be a lot more concentrated. But in this case it wasn't too bad, because I know there's a bunch of infantry in here. I just don't know exactly where. So having the bigger dispersion due to there not being radio was actually okay, and you can see that's going to help me pin down and potentially kill some of the units that are in this area as I counterattack now with the Fallschirmjäger and the Gebirgs. So L6 is waiting to make the move. The Sherman in here, I think, ended up getting killed, or at least forced back, which is why I was quite happy to push forwards. Did end up cancelling my artillery fire, but that's still coming in. I'm just hoping that it doesn't pin down my own units before it pins down the enemy units. But Wooden Box had already backed out of this area for the time being, and I'm therefore going to be targeting those straight afterwards. LG going to be able to get involved here. LG is really, really good in this scenario because it just chips massively onto these infantry squads. I think I had the LGs like in phase B or something. These can also be a viable option for dealing with medium armor because they do have a heat shell that has 100 penetration. But yeah, in this case, the rifles there getting absolutely slapped. I'm able to also, pin down the rest of these rifles with this artillery fire. Trying to get these up in order to the strafe in order to like engage the Sherman 5. with the Panzerfaust. And the SS Fallschirmjäger, while they're engaging the S-17 pounder. These SS Fallschirmjäger, I have these like in the late game because they have the sort of close range capability of 4 submachine guns and the HE grenade, but also have 2 MG34s. They're really good squads. Like, as I mentioned before, a lot of the infantry in this squad, or in this division in general, is very good. So making use of it to control the close range engagements is really, really nice. Then it's just up to your sort of support weapons to deal with the units at longer ranges. Or in this case, I'm now choosing to use artillery since that's a more viable option for me. And that is going to force back the M4 by pinning it down. Yeah, that artillery was primarily to kill the Sherman 5, and I've now brought up a battery Führer so that I can get radio in the area whilst also providing, of course, leadership. Now a bunch of rifles coming across. One trouble with the Canadians that you're always going to have is they do have a limited amount of like close range infantry, particularly if you don't bring in field engineers in Phase C. So yeah, the Brandenburger definitely going to be able to do a lot of damage with their HE grenades. Like even if he tries to pull back, we're still going to be able to pin down those squads. And I've also now got artillery coming in as well, which is definitely going to help. And then as soon as I push them out of the heavy cover and engage them in the open, well, then the MGs kick in and we do a lot of damage. Sherman 5 did end up going down, the Sherman 5 command, and I've managed to get the Pak 40 forwards, which is good. It's going to give me a bit more space to work with, as long as it doesn't, of course, get off-mapped, which I was kind of worried about, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see for that, I guess. Another HE going down for the Brandenburger. It's going to take out another rifle. Now I'm just kind of trying to stay out of line of sight of the AVRE. Because if the AVRE hits us, then, you know, it's going to just delete that squad. But we managed to capture back both of these flags. LG's in position, able to shoot across the open. Chinchev's army of disarmed units did manage to get the job done here, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, a fantastic game with Unternehmen Rosselsprung. And yeah, there goes the tick. 35 minutes, 1 second. Minor victory. Not bad at all. And I ended up getting 4,495 kills, 2,860 losses. So yeah, not the best KD on our team. You know, Genjev did really well there with the 4,530 kills to 1,750 losses. But I think for this division and kind of like where it's rated compared to other divisions and team games, we didn't do half bad. The Pak 38s, as I mentioned, really, really carried me. And good old Fishman here certainly had his pole out as he managed to pick up a lot of Sherman 5s and the Kangaroo and the Sherman 5 Stuarts. So much good stuff here getting killed. The Staghounds early on was really nice. Kind of brought me back into that initial engagement where I lost a couple of transports. The Brandenburger trades so well. In this case, managed to find a couple of Polstons as well in the back, so that was great. Pak 38 taking out AVRE, multiple half tracks. Really, really does save me. And again, Brandenburger doing well against the Ochotnice and the Berlingovici, and then the L6s coming into play, the LG coming into play. The LG did manage to get the kills onto those Sherman 5s for me, so that was really nice. With those heat rounds that I was mentioning earlier. Yeah, just in general, everything kind of fell into place for this game. And it's definitely a lot stronger and a lot more feasible of a division to play than the Yugoslavians in this DLC. Also, just a note, Genjev does have his own YouTube channel. If you search Genjev in YouTube, you will find it. And I believe he has a video about this deck. So if you want to see more about those disarmed troops, go check him out. That is it for now. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.